Always remember, it's not your spouse's job to bring happiness to you. It is your job to make yourself happy. It's your spouse's role to add to that happiness. I want you to stop trying to be a good manager of money. You can't manage money anyway. You should be a good steward of your money. Would you believe that the rich, there's 5 things they do with their money? Matter of fact, they do the exact 5 things that the poor does. Oh my goodness, they do them in a different order. Just reversing the order in which you do those things, oh my goodness, it puts you ahead. Our philosophy is don't ever loan money to friends. Don't loan money, period, to individuals. Just don't loan money.
And I just decided a long time ago that my relationships was worth more to me than money, because I don't want this friction. I don't want this uneasiness and this tension in the air when I see the people that I love because they loan money that they couldn't pay back.
HB, why is savings the smallest percentage? Here's why. Who do you know who saved their way to becoming rich? Saving money doesn't multiply. Investing money multiplies. But I want you to save so that you have your war chest. Save so that you have, some money so that when hard times come. Happy Sunday, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. How we doing? Facebook Live, if you can actually, there we go. I think they can see my video now. There we go. There are the faces there. How we doing? Facebook, let us know if you're out there. Let us know if you're happy, wealthy, and wise out there. Just give us a shout out over in the chats. Let us know where you're calling from. And if you're a first-time viewer and we have the privilege of actually acting a fool in front of you, just let us know that. So anyway, guys, happy Sunday, another beautiful Sunday here in H-Town. And let us know if this is your first time on here, and let us know where you're calling in from. All right, Queen City, Charlotte, North Carolina, in the house. I missed a couple there. We got Baja, California in the house. We've got, let's see here, what we got there? Baja, yeah, that's Lynn Mooney, Baja, California. We've got, who else we got here? Detroit's in the house. Shreveport, Louisiana's in the house, and different places. If you're New York City, don't be afraid. If you're out of the country, Dallas, Texas is in the house. There we go. New Zealand, Gloria. Folsom, California in the house. Where you from? Chi-Town's in the house there. Hey, Nancy, how you doing? All right, France is in the house. Bronx, New York is in the house, and Homestead, Florida, my home state, Florida, Henderson, Colorado, in the house. Welcome, guys. Welcome to another episode of From Our Home to Yours. And I want to make sure you can hear us really good. Well, I'm sure you can hear me. I don't know if you can hear her.
Happy Sunday, everybody.
All righty. Let's see here. Let's move this around just a little bit. There we go. All right. So we'll be even in there. All right. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. Another great day today. Last week, got a lot of feedback from last week's show. And it was, I guess, very informative. If you were here last week and you decided to come back, number one, we thank you. You're helping our ratings and possibly we may get a budget increase.
We've been getting a budget increase since we started.
If you got, oh, this is the first thing she said to me all day long. We have not spoken at all this morning, no breakfast, no conversation. I said hi this morning, and she looked at me like, who are you talking to? Anyway, I'm sure we'll be getting into that some kind of way in the call today. But anyway, no, it was a great great talk we had last Sunday. And we want to hear from you guys today. You got anything specific you want to talk to them about right now?
Well, I know a lot of people had questions that we, because that was a rather long call yesterday. So I'd like to answer any of the questions that carry over from your talk last week.
Can y'all hear her right now?
I know.
If you can't hear, it's because she's still in her mad at HB's voice, which means that there's not a lot of enthusiasm in her words at this moment. Let's see here. Want to make sure you guys can hear her. And I didn't do anything, by the way.
Oh, please, yeah, that's exactly right. Because I get mad because you don't when you don't.
I didn't do anything. Just letting y'all know.
Okay. They're smarter than that.
No, I'm telling you, the people know. Okay, there we go. All right, you guys can hear her. Awesome. Okay, so I guess you guys can hear really good. Last week's call, we covered a lot.
We did. It was an extra long call.
It was a very good, thorough call. I wouldn't call it extra long, but it was a very good, thorough call. And there's a lot of information that was covered. And some of y'all came back today, which is good. We're so happy. I'm working with the producers of the show right now, working with the network, and we're in negotiations right now for the next season, see if we can increase this budget, get us some help over here and stuff like that. So trying to find out if that's going to take place. But anyway, before we get started, we'd like to know if some of you, how many of you last week actually did the homework assignment? How many of you even know what the homework assignment was?
Yeah, that's a good way to start.
How many? Does anybody know what the homework assignment was? And let's see who did the homework assignment last week, and let's see what grades you are going to receive today. What about that? Okay, so I'm going to go to my text messages, and no messages yet. That's right. Don't look at my phone like that, please. This is private property here.
Okay. No questions so far.
Okay, so now no questions so far, but I'm ready to see who did the homework assignment last week. And who's that? Desmond. Thanks, Desmond, with the budget. He sent 100 stars. Too bad. Now remember, guys, whenever you send stars, and I'm going to encourage you guys to send stars. I'm gonna tell you why.
Yes, why?
Okay. Number one, because you got 2 stars in front of you right now. Right? So you got to send stars to the stars.
1 star for sure.
I already knew that was going to come out of your mouth. And that's very.
And then we have the help.
Baby, why would you call me a star and put yourself down like that? You shouldn't do that. I wouldn't have done that in front of the people like that. I wouldn't do that. Okay. Anyway, Christine said we had to cut expenses. She can't send stars, cut expenses, right? Anyway. So, no, she's talking about, I think, the assignment. We had to cut expenses. That was not the assignment.
Not exactly.
That was not the assignment specifically. I want to see who knows exactly what it was. Okay.
To invite others to, no.
No, that was one of the assignments as well, to invite people to watch the show, but that's not it. Okay.
It was
Raymond
specifically
says,
related to the Money Matters
it
training.
was specifically related, right? Somebody says, I believe, to write down the bucket list and start implementing them right away. Okay, now Jackie said her dog ate the homework. You know what, Jackie? I believe you have used that once or 2,000 times, but here's why you send stars, okay? When you send stars, by the way, those of you who are watching, we do this on our company's platform for a reason, because when you send stars, we feed children. So none of that money goes towards Earlene's nails and her hair or her makeup or her purses or her clothing and all of that stuff and earrings and what else you got on.
Why does it have to be something for me? Why couldn't it be to any of those cars? You have several outside.
I haven't bought a car. It's been years since I bought a car.
That's not true. Didn't you just buy a Tesla?
No, Vibe Rides bought that car.
Okay.
Vibe Rides bought. I didn't
That's
buy
just semantics.
that.
But
No,
okay.
Vibe Rides bought that
Vibe
vehicle.
Rides have a new car that you drive every day.
No, somebody got to spread the vibe, and you can drive it if you want to. I'm just saying that's a company car.
Okay, I mean, that's a nice spin on it.
So anyway, when you send stars, that money goes to our foundation, which is called the Boom Foundation, and we give all of it away. We don't take any administrative fees. We don't take any salaries or anything like that. And we take that money and we go out there and feed children. And I think last year in 2019, we actually provided almost 5 million servings of nutrition to underprivileged children around the world.
That's beautiful.
And this year, I think we'll probably do about 15 million, if not more than that. But we are on the rise. So when you send stars, that's where the money actually does go. So we appreciate you for doing that. But anyway, let's see if any. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you. Somebody says it goes to the barbershop. No, I cut my own hair.
You do not cut it, Holton.
During quarantine, I was cutting my own hair.
Yeah, quarantine is over. Quarantine is over. Did you cut your own hair last week?
No.
Okay. Well, you don't cut your own hair anymore.
But
yeah,
we might be back in quarantine, so I might be cutting my own hair again.
Why don't you tell them that it doesn't go toward the gun collection or your tennis shoe collection or your watch collection?
Why you gotta put my business out there in the street?
Well, listen, you start with the business now.
People don't need to know about all my shoes and all that kind of stuff. I was talking about the stuff you got on right now.
Yeah, well, you know.
All right.
You love to tell people business.
All right. So anyway, so I'm just trying to see here. Hello, let's see here. Susan said, hello, hello, I did, but some of the companies stated because I set up an account at the beginning, it would not change my FC to lower, but during COVID-19, they were not adjusting. All right. So Susan is on point with the assignment.
You got this.
Okay.
Right. Yay, Susan.
Susan she got the assignment right. So the main thing that we talked about with regard to the assignment is we told you guys how to decrease your expenses. So you were right. The person before, yeah, yep, I see that. The person before, you were right. But the purpose of decreasing expenses, or the way that you were going to decrease the expenses, were going to be to call your creditors, whoever it was, cable company, it could have been your internet company, cable, cell phone, whoever it was, and just tell them you want to lower your expenses. You want to lower your bill. If it was a credit card company, tell them you want to lower your interest rate, or you're going to be transferring. And I told you that if you've been a good customer to them, there's no reason why they will not or should not, okay? But you got to call, and you got to call with authority, like you know what you're talking about, like you're confident, because I have people to do it. Every week, I have somebody making phone calls, lowering their bills, and it works. I've got not one person that I've given instructions to and told them exactly how to do it that did not do it. So we talked about that last week, and hopefully you guys are actually following the protocols that we put forth here. So now, remember, the first thing about homework is you have to remember what the homework is. Most of y'all don't even remember what the homework was, right? So,
well, there was a lot, in all fairness, there was a lot of information given. It's a lot to digest.
Okay, all right, so Marilyn Burks, guess what? Called and said she got her DirecTV bill lowered. That's what I'm talking about, okay? If you don't mind, Marilyn, just put in the comments there how much or what the percentage was that you got it lowered. Okay. Sandra says, I am debt free. Congratulations. Desiree, tell us what your results were. We want to know what your results were. Raul said he did it. And the reason why David Guilty said he did it, we want to show you guys how simple it is.
Right.
Okay. Because that's money that you're paying that you don't have to pay. Okay. Who's that? German said he lowered his internet bill, told AT&T he was switching to Spectrum, and they cut the bill down.
Yay.
That's what I'm talking about, right? Raul said he lowered his interest rate. And Sharon says she does it routinely already. Great job.
Good for you.
Very good job. Marilyn said, I called DirecTV and got my bill lowered. Tell us what the percentage was if you don't mind. Leslie says she followed through. And Citibank gave me 0% interest for 5 years.
That is awesome.
5 years. You see what I'm saying? So you know what? Those of you who lowered your bills, I want to see some stars because you got money. You got money. That way we can go ahead and keep this, increase this budget, and they'll give us a second season on this show, all right? Let's see here. They will not lower my finance charge. Okay, we already did that one already. So Susan, we're going to show you exactly what you need to do. Call some other people. Don't just call one. Call some other people. I promise you, you have bills that you can get lowered. Who was that? Melanie paid off her credit card bill of $1,600. Great, got out of debt. All right. Viola Hall says she got her car furloughed until September. It means that they suspended all payments. All right. My cable bill was $287. Now it's $135. Wow. Jackie Pippins. That's awesome. So that is $162 that she has saved month by. Now, here's how I want you to look at it. Here's how I want you to look at it. Okay. I remember a time, $162 per month. So if you want to think like the wealthy think, I want you to take this. Let's say you saved $162, like Jackie did. Okay. I want you to ask yourself, how much money must you have in the bank to earn $162 per month in interest? See, this is why the rich get richer. Because of the money philosophies that they have. Okay. So if you're looking at, 1% interest on your money, which it's hard to even get that
right
nowadays. Okay. So to make $100, how much must you have in an account?
100,000.
Right. Yep. Okay. So when you take a look at it, you just did the equivalent. Well, if you had 100,000, all right, and in the bank, it would be about 100. You need about 130 something thousand dollars in the bank, drawing interest for you to make that 100 and something dollars. Now, here's the thing: you're not going to make that per month. That's for the year. So you would need almost over $1 million in the bank, just sitting in your savings account, to actually do and earn the money that Jackie just earned.
$37
right.
a month. Wow.
So that's a lot.
I thought it was 167 though.
It was 167. Oh yeah, so she need $1.6 million in the bank. Yeah, to earn that type of money.
Per month.
Right, per month. Okay, so pretty cool stuff. I lowered my electricity bill by calling Just Energy Company, and they lowered my bill from $144 to $107. Awesome. Awesome job there. Cool deal. So when you take a look at it, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to just understand what's required to earn $1. What's required to earn $1, to have an extra dollar come into your house. If you take a look at all the things that you've got going on, what can you do with $1, or how can you earn an extra dollar or cut an extra dollar? And so what Jackie just did could be the equivalent as well of having one rental house.
Well, that's true.
Okay. It's the equivalent of having, you say, well, it's only $167. Well, if you had a rental property and your mortgage on it was $700 and your rent that you were being paid was $867, you're only making a profit of $167, which is the equivalent, but you've got no headaches. You don't have any loans or anything that's out there, nobody to deal with. Okay. So it's the same equivalent. And so when you have a different picture about money, you go about it differently. So let's see if the ladies have any questions or the men have any questions out there. Let's see here. I think I have a question here. All right, so somebody says, as a leader looking to build, this is Elsa here out of London, says, out of the UK, says, as leaders look to build big or building big, do we start to save money when we get a certain income in our network marketing business, and in the beginning invest the majority of our income into the business, or do we start to save from the get-go as we have to invest in our business and team? Okay,
That's a great question.
it's a really good question. Well, the first thing that you want to do is you want to follow the money flow of what we talked about. And if you're following that money flow, when it comes to investing, remember, investing came before saving, okay? So you're going to invest, and then saving was after investing, and you should save as well, okay? You should save, but the investing part was on the priority list. In this business here, you do want to save money, but you also want to take a look at what are you investing in? People who are in this type of business and network marketing style business, one of the best investments that you can make is back into something that you know about. Well, you know about your network marketing business. So what we did at one point in time, I'll never forget, I think we took some seed money and I think it was $10,000. And we invested into our business. This was years ago. And we turned $10,000 into $300,000 into seed capital. How do we do it? We invested into event tickets when they were the cheapest. And when the prices went up, we sold them to the people at the market price, and we made the difference. We invested into our own selves. We invested into products, into our business at that time. We made other investments into the tools, and we bought things in bulk at that time so that we got the best price. And when we distributed things through our organization, they paid the same price we would have paid, but they didn't buy as many, so their price break wasn't as high, as deep. And so the difference came back to us, and over, I forgot what period of time that was, that account built up to about 300,000, starting with $10,000. And so that was a great investment that we made there. So anyway.
So when you're investing into your business, say for instance, and what account are you taking that from of the 6 buckets?
Okay. So all right. So remember, there's 2 investment columns that you have. You have your U bucket, okay, whereas you're paying 10 to 30% back to yourself. That's also for some of your personal investments or personal purchases. It's money that personal purchases first. It's money that you're rewarding yourself with. And then you've got the investment column of 20% of that income, that you've got. You want to be investing 10 to 20%. So we talked about that. So when I'm investing back into the business, in the beginning, it's coming from that column, not the U income, because I don't have enough profits in the beginning to start investing. I barely have enough to pay myself 10%. But my investment column is coming from there. That's where it's coming from.
Okay.
Yep.
I think that answers the question.
So any other questions that you had?
No, I was checking to see if there were any on the chat.
So Clifton Newton says, do I invest in the stock market? Yes, I do. I'm not real big on it. I'm not what I call a savvy detail investor, but let me say I do, but let me tell you what I do. I understand people. And people, why you look at me like that?
But you see on the screen how that's kind of weird.
Oh, they can see through me. It is kind of weird, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
okay. You know why? Because I'm being transparent.
Oh, maybe because it's a pattern.
No, I'm being transparent, literally.
Oh, you're being transparent.
Yeah, I'm being very transparent. I'm opening up to people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
See,
really weird.
when you people can't see through you, you're not being
Yeah,
transparent.
because you told me to wear a solid color, and then here you are with a.
Well, I didn't know. I just had on my little camouflage stuff. So when I'm saying I invest in people, I understand people. Right now, we've got an emotional roller coaster going on, okay, with our economy, with our world, with the stability of everything. So I understand how people's emotions go.
Right.
People are reactive to news, information, whether it's accurate or inaccurate. And so I know how to capitalize on that, because if the world says this is going to happen, people become afraid and they sell stuff. And when they sell stuff, stocks typically go down. And when I know people need that, I don't sell. I wait till they stop selling and I go buy. And then it goes right back up. So my portfolio has been doing very good since the quarantine stuff that's been going on, because people are very emotional. So, but I'm not an expert at all. And I don't give investing advice at all, except what I just gave you there.
Well, speaking of the stock market, we recently had some news broke about Starbucks's comments about Black Lives Matter, and then I guess they were forbidding, and correct me if I'm wrong, but they were forbidding their employees to wear the Black Lives Matter paraphernalia or stuff at their job.
Right.
And so the very next day, their stock dropped.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's recovered yet, but how does that all relate? Do you have an opinion on that whole, this whole idea of well, that some negative comments come out and then the stock market drops?
Okay, well, you have to look at why the stock market dropped. Well, not the stock market. You have to look at why Starbucks stock fell. It didn't fall directly from the comment that they made and the backlash. The stock fell because of the announcement that they were going to close 400 stores. So in the average person's mind, 400 stores are closing, revenue is down, dividends will be down, profits will be down. I'm going to shift my money to other company where they're opening stores.
Right. They think that Starbucks is in trouble because they're closing stores, but that's not necessarily the case.
In reality, they're shifting their business model to a service base that is more a pickup. It is like a DoorDash style service. Why? Because it will cut down on expenses. And sometimes when you close down stores, you can become more profitable. To give you an example, Lyft, which has lost 70% of their revenue, actually is a little bit more profitable. They never were pulling profits, but if you take the negative profits that they had, the negative profits are less than what they were before, which deems them more profitable because they eliminated also a lot of jobs. Same thing with Airbnb. They eliminated 1,900 jobs and they're more profitable. I'm never for getting rid of employees, but sometimes shifts happen to make your business more efficient. And so, but people react. And so when the stock also fell because the COVID numbers increased. COVID numbers increase, people say, uh-oh, work stoppage again. People are going to stop going to the store. They're not going to be able to get in. They're going to go back on lockdown. Volume and revenue is going to go down. Let me pull my money now. Why? Stock is going to drop. And so the more people who get afraid, become afraid, fear is a big motivator. Guys, let me share something with you. The wealthy people, the top 1%, have increased their net worth 35% since COVID started.
Wow. I'm surprised by that.
I'm not.
I mean, that's a large number.
Yeah. 35%.
Okay, can you explain that?
Yeah. So basically, you don't become wealthy by accident.
True.
Okay. You just don't. And I'm sorry, I said 35%. No, the top wealth, the top 1% represents $35 trillion. They increased their wealth by 19%.
Okay, well that's
19%. I'm sorry, that's incorrect.
Okay,
Incorrect.
That's
Okay.
more like
Right. Still a lot.
No, it's
Still a
a
lot.
heck of a lot. I mean,
Okay.
during a pandemic, of course, it's a lot.
Right. This is why, because experience, proper information, and they're surrounded by the circles that they run in is not the circles who react off of rumor.
Right.
Amateurs react off of rumors. And the top 1% operate off of being exact or being so close to exact that they're well informed to be able to make a decision. And they're also able to control the decisions of the people who are not in the 1%. They can affect their decisions. They can make panic happen if they wanted to financially, so that people start to sell. For example, if Warren Buffett wanted to start a panic, and if he's the single largest shareholder of Coca-Cola. If he wanted to start a panic, he starts to sell his shares right now. They go down. Why? Everybody else is going to go start running. He comes back in, buy lower. It goes back up. He just increases wealth just like that. Just what happens.
Okay, that makes sense. So, do you have any thoughts on the comments that, well, the actions of Starbucks and then later the retraction, if you want to call it a retraction, or their actions after?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Well, what it was, as she stated, Starbucks made a statement that they would not support their employees wearing any paraphernalia or shirts that signifies Black Lives Matter. Okay. Which for them was a social business decision that they made. And so the backlash came because I believe people felt that they were tone deaf and put a business decision before a social matter, which Starbucks wasn't going to go out of business for doing that. And in a world where everybody's looking to band together to find a solution to a problem, it just appeared that Starbucks didn't want to participate in that way. So the backlash came because who is the biggest supporters of Starbucks right now? One of your biggest supporters are young people. They go in, college students, they sit in Starbucks all day long and they buy drinks or whatever it may be. Well, they was in a tirade, Starbucks, on June the 12th. On June the 11th, they made the statement. On June the 12th, Starbucks came out and says, not only are we going to do it, we're going to print up, was it 100,000? 250,000 shirts for Starbucks with Black Lives Matter. And so my comment on it is, your first response to go so strong on it was probably your natural response. That's what you feel.
Yeah, and it was an economic response.
All right, it was an economic
response.
Right.
Yes. Okay, we got that.
Right. And so you got to remember, Starbucks is a publicly traded company, and it's run by a board of directors. Okay, and most often board of directors in a lot of major companies are dominated by white males that are older white men. Okay, and so the mindset or the thought process may be more insensitive because of age and because of environment.
Right.
Okay.
For sure.
Strictly the age and environment. Well, now when a big part of your customer base comes in and say, we don't support that, now you have to react to the dollar, because it wasn't just going to be the black dollar withdrawing, it was going to be those who support withdrawing, and that was going to be a much bigger battle to fight.
Okay, so if that's the case, then what changed? If you're saying that this was an economic decision and you made it because you're trying to protect the shareholders and you are trying to protect your cash flow, whatever, what changed? Because I mean, from one day to the next, that point of view didn't change. No, the point of view has not changed, and you're not going to change people's point of view instantly. Okay, so my question is, if this was the reason that you made this decision on one day, and then you got the backlash, and then you made a completely different decision, why was the decision different? The decision was different because I'm making a decision that's going to be in parallel with the direction of the financial goals that we have as a company. Okay. Not necessarily because of the social direction that I choose, because this board is not going to change their mind and what they feel about Black Lives Matter in 24 hours. Remember, as I told you, people alter their direction or change two different ways, okay? Emotional impact or space repetition. That was emotional impact, okay? It was emotional impact to see that many people to call in and say, I'm not supporting this, I'm not supporting that. Because now all of a sudden your likeness changes, right? Right, your likeness changes, and now you have opened the window for someone else to come in your same category of business and say, hey, I support it, and then people will lend their patronage from Starbucks to this particular coffee company. Dunkin' Donuts could have popped up and says, here's what we're going to do, and we're going to come in and take that space. And you only have a slither of a moment, and to make corrections in errors of judgment, and they made it quickly, and fast. Now I'm not a part of the board. I don't own or share any stock in that company, so I'm not even a customer. So. Right. So yeah. I'm just giving to you what I know through experience with companies. I could be wrong, but I don't think I'm wrong in this scenario when it comes to Starbucks and even some other companies who've made some changes there. So. Okay, I have one other question. Sure, I love your questions. I got a. They're saying they can't hear you. Oh, they can't hear me? Right. Oh my God, I don't know what we're gonna do about this microphone. No, you just gotta talk louder. Okay. If you talk like when I have my shoes in the middle of the floor. Yeah, but you don't. And you almost trip. But you call my name. You don't. I can hear you from the 4th floor. Holton, hush. Okay. All right. So Johnny made a post today. Johnny Wembry, our really friend Johnny Wembry, made a post today, and it was something he reposted that Robert Kiyosaki had posted. Right. Robert Kiyosaki's post says, WTF, why do we worship felons, losers, weirdos, and people without power or success? Why do we attack our police who protect us from the losers? Why do our gutless leaders kiss the losers' behinds? Says asses. Yeah. The police should take a month off. Let losers and leaders kiss each other's butts. Okay. Do you want to respond to this? Do you have any? Because we have been, we're talking about Money Matters the past week, and then this week as well. Robert Kiyosaki has obviously been and has impacted our financial IQ, I believe.
Yes,
We
he
have
has.
all of his books. We bought the cash flow game for our son when he was younger. Do you have any reaction to that post or any opinions about how that hit you?
Yeah. You know what? Me personally, I was shocked. I was shocked, and I'm not, it's not easy to shock me. But I was thrown. I was like, at first I'm like, okay, this is a joke post that, because Johnny plays a lot, we joke a lot. And then it was real. And then I read some of the commentary that was there. And first I have to say, you know what? He's entitled to his opinion and his right. He has a right to his opinion. And he has a right to be wrong.
True.
Okay. So no, he's entitled to his opinion. So how I felt about it is I felt that for someone who's been so much in the public eye, so much advising people with regard to how to improve the quality of their lives, I felt that he showed what he really feels.
Well, in addition to being racist, he's also an elitist.
Yeah, I felt it was completely insensitive. His comments, I thought they were completely insensitive, especially when you get down as a figure like that and you start calling people losers. Well, who's the loser and who's the winner and what? And yeah, we know you won the game of cash flow.
Yeah, but didn't he have a rich dad and a poor dad? So should we shoot your dad in the street because he's poor? Your real father,
right?
Didn't you? The whole reason why you teach these things and these philosophies and these principles so that people who want to increase their financial IQ and increase their financial standing in the world, they can do so.
Right.
So now so because you don't have money, you deserve to be shot in the street? Like, who would be left in America?
Right. Yeah. And basically, the part that bothers me most is, okay, you're making a stance. You're choosing to come out and say something, but you completely ignore what the purpose of what's going on is for, and you focus on as I talked about, the ambers, the things that are taking place, the little small things, the distractions out there, and you completely ignore what the real point is, and you're very insensitive to what people, minorities are going through and have gone through. As I told you, people call me up and ask me, how's it going, man? It's different. I have been affected.
Yeah.
I can't explain it, but I have. It's affected me, and it continues to. But change doesn't come with everybody feeling good.
Right. With convenience either.
So
well, let me say this, because we started with nothing. And, and the last time I checked, there's nobody in the street handing out $100 bills. So, the vast majority of the people who become millionaires, they start off meager beginnings. And so since when does a person's life is valued according to their bank account? That's no longer an American philosophy. We're supposed to be, give me your tired, your rich or poor. That's what this country is about. So we're gonna now decide that your life is not worth anything because of your bank account. Okay, we're in big trouble.
Right.
I don't understand the audacity of someone that has been able to benefit from capitalism and benefit from being an American to have this type of attitude. It just
the thing that he does that he doesn't remember, that I remember.
Okay.
He doesn't remember why he became so popular and successful.
Right.
I know the story.
Right. So do I.
Okay. And so I'm talking about the real story. See, Robert Kiyosaki had written this book that was a complete failure. and nobody was buying this book. And Robert Kiyosaki had this book at car washes and would have to loan them the books and say, I hope people buy this book. They wouldn't buy it. He would front the books to the car wash. And along comes a network marketer who sees the book as he's getting his Mercedes-Benz washed. An Amway distributor who takes the book, reads the book, and says, this is what I teach. So let me take this book and go to all the people who have not made it yet. All the people who want a better life. Now, you gotta remember, way back when, network marketing was a group of blue collar workers. It had not hit the professional ranks at that time. So he took the book and took this book to one of the top leaders, and one of the top leaders said, hey, listen, I like the book, let's sell it at our convention. 30,000 people at the first convention, and they were doing Coliseum events every weekend. As much as 80,000 people when they got to Seattle and the Kingdom over there, they were having 80,000 people in the Kingdom. So they called him back and said, how many copies can you get printed? Here's how many I want to buy. He couldn't believe anybody wanted to buy that many copies of that book. And so it was the people who had not invested, who had not been on the other side of the cash flow quadrant. It was the people who were looking to get there, the same people right now that I feel he's being insensitive to, were the ones who made his book what it is today. And that was the biggest start that he had.
Right, because wealthy people don't need his book. They already know how to make money.
Right.
So you're making your book appeals to people who want to be where you are. It's just shame on you. I hope he does have an opportunity to see this video or hears about it, because I'm just mortified at those comments, and I'm so disappointed in him as a person. I wish I could. I'm gonna go upstairs and find all of his books and throw them in the trash, because I'll never pick another one up.
But here's the thing. And here's the decision that I made thinking about it. Okay.
Let's hear this.
I'm not going to throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Well,
I'm gonna tell you why.
Well, you're a better human being than me, so I won't repeat it. You better have it recorded it, because I won't repeat it.
Okay. Let me tell you why. Okay. This is why.
Okay.
Because I'm not gonna cut off my money because he's insensitive and because he doesn't understand. I won't promote his books.
Yeah.
I'm not going to any seminars. I won't download any podcasts. I mean, anything that's going to contribute to his money, all the books that I already have, I'll keep them and I will learn from him, and I'll take his information and I'll put a better message out from the teachings that he have than he was able to put out with that. And now, but I'm not going to go buy books and say, here group, I'm not going to go buy the cash flow game and give it to people like we did before. We would give it as gifts, and I'm hoping, because one of our very good friends, who's over there in Denver, and who has a very good relationship with them. I mean, they talk like, and I haven't even called him. I'm gonna call him up and see what, just what his thoughts were, and, on that, but he's canceled. He's financially canceled. I'm not contributing to it. So,
I mean, and I want to go on record as saying something else. We understand how difficult of a job it is to be a police officer. So I don't want anybody to think that we are insensitive to the lives and the well-being of police officers. Do I feel that the vast majority of police officers are good people? I do. I think it's a handful of people who permeate this racism and this injustice, and we do have to stop it. But I feel, because I don't want to be in a situation where, when we really do need 911, that there's going to be nobody on the other end of the phone to answer the call. So that is not what this is about. We are not saying that we don't appreciate and value police officers. There are a lot of really good human beings on the police force. That's not what this is about. This is about Black men being shot down. And I mean, without a gun, without any provocation, you know, it's just, I don't understand. If a person has good sense, how come they just can't get this part?
Mhm.
I have seen countless videos online of Caucasian Americans fighting the police, taking their batons, running away, you know, indecent exposure in the streets, you know, just causing havoc. Nobody ever pulls out their gun to shoot them. I don't understand how even after all of the news coverage and the social uproar that we are having right now, that any police officer can pull out their gun and shoot an unarmed man in the back as he's running away.
Okay, so here's what this, you know, back to his comment, back to what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
This is not even about the police officers to me. For me, it's not.
Okay, all right, well, explain that.
Okay. When you are born in America, you typically perform and have ideals as an American.
Yes.
Now, obviously, we have our different silos that we live in terms of African American, Asian American, and all of this stuff.
Sure.
That it's not good enough anywhere for us to be Americans anymore. Okay, it's just everybody's got, that's just society. If I'm born in Russia, I kind of do how Russians do.
Mm-hmm.
If I join a fraternity, I kind of take on the culture of that fraternity.
Right.
When I join the police force, the system is much bigger than the thought process of any police officer.
Well, that's true. Okay.
And so there is an undercurrent and there is a system that forces a good person to see the advantage themselves that they now have and abuse it. I'll give you an example. It's no different than, you know, if you take the system that we have of, let's say, government assistance programs.
Okay.
There's a few people who abuse them.
Well, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
There's a few people who've abused them. There's a lot of people who haven't abused them.
And there are a lot of people who benefit that actually do need the services.
And there's a lot, and the majority need the services,
Right.
but there's some people who just abuse it.
Right.
Okay. And so what I'm saying with the police department, and it's not the police officers, it is a mental and psychological infiltration of expectation that system has on one another, that continues to recruit and infiltrate. It recruits and infiltrate the mind, recruit and infiltrate the mind. And if you watch, this is my thought process. If you watch what Dave Chappelle just put out,
Yeah, Johnny sent that to me too.
and why that man had his hand in his pocket, and for me, it was the signature.
Yeah.
It was his sign to his brothers of, look what, this is my sign. This is what I'm doing. And why didn't the other three cops do anything? Because if they had have done anything, the system was going to eat them alive, and they couldn't. They could have been good-hearted men crying inside, wishing that he got his knee off of George Floyd's neck. But if they had said one thing and went against a senior officer, the system was going to eat them alive, and the future and who they were going to be traitors to the system. And that's why, to me, it is a systemic police institutional thing rather than just
A single police
right.
officer.
And so, but here's what happens. The 4-day-old guy, he stays there long enough, he's the next one.
Right.
He's got a great chance of being the next one. Why? Because the system perpetuates that. And that's why people are calling for defunding. I don't want to be in a world without police.
I don't either.
But the defunding, people have to understand they're not saying we just want lawlessness and we don't want any patrol. No, defunding means let me withdraw all of these funds. We're going to defund and then refund, but we will refund the system with new laws and new protocols. and eliminate the systemic problems that have been in place. So that's really what that's about.
Right.
Got a lot of questions coming up here.
Okay.
You got anything else on that?
No, I'm good.
You sure?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So questions here. So Jockey says, how much money should you have in the bank before you can safely walk away from a 6-figure job? It all depends on what your expenses are, what your lifestyle looks like. The higher your money, the longer you should have that amount of money in the bank. So you should have let's say a person makes 100 grand, you should have a minimum of $50,000 of job money set aside, not your total savings. Job earnings that you save from your income in your business, set aside with momentum in your business, a good sizable structure, and you should also make sure you counsel with your upline blue diamond before you ever quit your job making that amount of money. Dean Freeman, any ideas when Vibe will get to Australia? You know what? Australia is a very aggressive market for Vibe, and it's in one of our top lists of our countries to expand to. Elliot Shields, do you have have you invested in tax or mortgage overages? Very familiar with it, and it's one of those, it's not as simple as it appears, from on the surface, okay? People say, well, you just go in and buy the tax lien, and you can get these houses for pennies on the dollar with these tax auctions. Sometimes, yes, there's a lot of competition. A lot of times I've gone in, I put my deposits, I've won the bids, and right before the bid, I'm winning the bid right before those bids close, somebody comes in, whether it's an investor, whoever got to the person, and comes and buy it from up under me. And also, if the person that you bought the property tax lien from, you have a specified period of time before you can realize the equity out of that house. And if they come and pay it off, then they'll only pay you a percentage on your money. Both are good, but it's something that if you do it, you just got to know what it is that you're doing. Should Kiyosaki's comments make you think twice before reading his material? No, it makes me think twice before I recommend him as a person. I can always share a philosophy. Remember, I learn from people who are up to no good as well. Everybody I learn from, I don't have to like them. I have to like their results. And I don't get it twisted. Don't think that everybody in my company likes me. Okay? They just know I'm gonna win. And so I'm joining this dude here, I'm gonna win. People didn't like Michael Jordan.
Right. Especially people who lost.
Right. Let me go join this dude. Why? I'm gonna get a ring.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
go ahead.
Let's add a little bit to that. Yes, we can't. We learn from people who aren't perfect, right?
She's a little different than I am.
We're all human beings. I do have a different opinion on this, but not for the reason that you just stated, because I agree with you. We don't. The person giving us the information doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, the information can still be pure and coming from a great place. I just don't want to economically support him. So I don't suggest you buying his book. There are YouTube videos. You may even be able to get free downloads someplace. Just try to find a way to access the information without having to pay for it in a legal way. I'm not suggesting anything illegal, but in a legal way. Mm-hmm. So I just wouldn't fund anything. I wouldn't go to any seminars. I wouldn't buy any downloads, nothing like that.
Right. And when you refer, say, listen, I learned from somebody who was very successful this principle here. And that way, I'm not referring him any new business. Cancel. Right?
Right.
Cancel. When this cancel culture. Gloria says, Vala says, if you're starting to save and you want to invest, what should you invest in with small amounts of income starting off? I never tell anybody what to invest in. I just always say, don't invest in things that you don't know about. And I'll say this, and this is no disrespect, because I get asked this question all the time. When you're asking, what should I invest in? This is when I want you to now start to do your homework on money. Because when you start asking people what to invest in, always remember this. At some point, you're going to ask the right person who has the wrong answer. And normally in the beginning, when a person with money, like yourself, meets a person with experience, and you ask that question, the person with the experience leaves with the money, and the person with the money leaves with an experience. You don't want to do that. You want to be the person who has money, borrows experience, and leave with more money. So go back to the drawing board, study a little bit more about what interests you. Making money from an investing standpoint, much of it is common sense. It really is. Don't try to overcomplicate it. Gloria Jones, if interest rates are deferred or reduced for a period of time, after that, does the rates then double to make up for the time it was canceled or deferred? It all depends on the agreement that you have with your financial institution. Don't ever do a balloon interest rate on deferments. Okay, don't do a balloon. Just tell them, hey, listen, I want my interest rate cut. Period. End of story. If I put my defer some payments towards the end, okay. Now, if you extend the period of a particular loan, you're going to pay more interest in the long run. If when you catch up on your finances, if you don't pay that off, you're going to end up paying more interest. So it's not designed to delay or remove. It's designed to give you more capital now to invest so that you don't have to wait till the entire contract. If you got a 5-year loan on your car, don't take 5 years to pay it off. Reduce your payments, interest rates on all these other things. Find smart ways to increase your cash flow, increase your income, and start paying those things off. Okay? Don't look at it as, wow, I don't have to pay them for another 5 years. That's not the thought process of the rich and the wealthy.
Good stuff.
All right, another one here. Let's see here.
You're out of time.
I know we're out of, okay. Some people are saying they can't hear you. But anyway, we got through that one. Vivian Head says, when people have more money than you do, some of them start looking down at you, forgetting that that you may be one of those that got you there. Why do people do that? I'll let you answer that question.
People look down.
When some people who have more money than you, they look down on other people, and they're forgetting that you may have been one of the ones who helped them get there.
Yeah, I mean, that's just ignorance and insensitivity and immaturity. I don't know how to respond to that.
And it's typically a poor self-image. Normally when people look down on other people, it's because there's two ways to build the tallest building downtown. One is to go out there and build it and be proud of everything that was before you to give you the inspiration. The other is to go and tear every other building down that's taller than yours, and that way yours is standing left, and whereas you don't have to work as hard. So that's it's really more of a self-image, low self-image thing when people have to tear other people down.
Yeah, it takes all types.
Andrea Haynes says, CEO, we need a new book. Give us one before year's end, please. Working on it.
What?
I'm working on it.
I haven't agreed to write your book for you.
You know what? Don't be telling people you write my book for them, okay? Don't. You don't know what to say.
You got to pay me because I'm undervalued.
Okay. Stan says, what are your thoughts on pulling down of statues and burning of history books? Well, here's the thing. I don't believe in burning history books. I believe the history books are very important. I believe all the things that have taken place, positive and bad, they need to stay in history books. This is why it's important to bring things up. People always say, well, slavery was way back when. Why are you bringing it up now?
It's relevant.
Not only is it relevant, but any society, any institution or organization that does not bring up what history, what took place in history is bound to repeat it. And so it is very important, because what happens is this here. When you look at oppressive issues that have taken place, the oppressors don't want to hear it. It's important that the oppressed and those who are against the oppressed, the oppression, speak up. Because if you don't speak up, the oppressors will think it is okay to repeat again. This is why when you saw Emmett Till, if you remember this, a young man who was lynched because they thought that he had eyes for a white woman in that society. And they tortured the body, drug him, did all kind of things. And his mother at the funeral says he is so disfigured. And people said, you need to close the casket. You don't want to remember him that way. And she says, no, I want people to always remember what we've been going through. And so the fact that she opened that casket has led to so many different things in civil rights, because people were able to witness it and see it. I don't ever want the George Floyd video to be deleted from the internet. It needs to stay. It needs to be there so that people could go back and visit it and understand what has taken place. And so sometimes people say, I'm sick and tired of hearing about this. And well, I'm sorry, because the oppressed is sick and tired of living through it. So I don't believe in burning books. However, monuments that are reminders or glorifying the figures that represent a particular time, nobody's perfect. But when you've got the reminders of individuals who contributed to what society now says, this is a problem, it's got to come down.
Right. Because it's not who we are anymore. Well, it's not who
right.
we want to be anymore. Many of us don't want to be that anymore, for sure.
Right. So if you don't have enough people crying to pull it down, maybe, I'm not saying I want it up, I don't want it up. But when you got the people saying, this has got to come down, it's got to come down.
Yeah.
Things, it's got to come down. So I do agree with that.
Right. But you don't agree with the burning of the textbooks.
No, it's important. The books have to stay there. I want to be able to sit down with my grandson and granddaughter and read to them things that took place in history, and I don't want it removed. Do you know how much Black history has been removed out of our school system? They burn some of that stuff out, and so Black kids nor Latino kids or minority kids or even white kids are even taught it, and that's a part of the systemic issue that it's not even the kids' fault.
Right.
It is the only people we know.
They decide which parts of history they allow us to learn in school.
I grew up, and I'll be candid here.
Okay.
I grew up and I learned Martin Luther King, Harriet Tubman, Frederick Douglass, and Malcolm X. W.E.B. I mean, but here's what I knew. I knew Martin Luther King was good, Malcolm X was bad.
Right.
Martin Luther King was good. Why? Peace, turn the other cheek. Malcolm X, militant. He's bad. That was institutionalized, eradicating or giving an image of who Malcolm X was. And so for so long, I grew up with this stigma against Muslims. Why? Because the first Muslim I ever heard of was Malcolm X. Malcolm X is bad. All Muslims follow what Malcolm X does, which is bad. Now that I understand my history, you can't find one violent act that the man himself has actually led or has actually done. He just didn't take crap and he wanted change. And now, I've got to be candid with you. in some ways, I have more admiration for him in some aspects than I do in terms of the what he had to go through. And I don't like to compare because both were great, but I think with what he had to suffer through, specifically from even his own people, I look at him as a bigger hero now today than I did before. And I don't want that mistake made again, because I'm not a victim, but I believe I was robbed of even the ability or the desire to want to get to know more, because I was immediately always taught he was militant.
Or he was about violence.
Yeah, or he was a racist.
Yeah.
You know, and so I think today his work today is probably more relevant than any time before. Last couple questions here, then I'm done. Let's see here. Oh my goodness. This one may need his own show. It says, what are your opinions about like Candace Owens and how they affect the issues we're dealing with? Yeah,
I don't have the energy to go into that one.
But I have to say something about it.
What?
I have to say something about it. Okay. CO, I'm not even gonna give her name again. CO has her right to her opinion and has her right to employ her strategy. Okay. But my total opinions is that she is a true opportunist who is very well spoken and has the ability to shuffle enough facts to be one sentence or one word smarter than the majority of other people and appear as she's an expert on a particular topic, when the depths of her knowledge probably is as shallow as my bathing ledge in my pool. I couldn't even drown an ant in my pool there. And so when a person becomes just a wordsmith for opportunity, and always find wrong in this, but never find wrong with what my side is doing, then it's an opportunity, because I don't do the politics things. I don't not support people because they're Democrat and not support people because they're Republican. You can be a Republican, you can vote for Trump, and if it doesn't matter. You can vote for Biden. To me, none of that matters. That's your political agenda or your political decision. I don't get involved in all of that stuff. But when it comes to always searching for, when you start your sentence with, I went to search for why were people making a martyr out of George Floyd, and I did my research. Number one, CO, a martyr is a person who makes a decision to give their life for the betterment of their people. George Floyd's life was taken from him.
Big difference.
He didn't give it.
Right.
So nobody's making him a martyr. He couldn't be. And why would the first thing you would do is to go do the research on how bad of a person he was? He could have been a person who had killed 20 people 20 years ago. And if he had served his time for it, you do not get to be judge, jury, and executioner when you are stopping him for a fake $20 bill.
Right. We are not judging him for how he lived. We are outraged at how he died. So it's just.
That was brilliant.
Yeah. Thank you.
That was really, really good.
Yeah. The question is, I just resent how, people who want to gain attention and opportunity for themselves just try to change the conversation. This is not about what type of person he was. I mean, we have so many criminals in this country. That's why we have jails. But you don't decide to kill somebody, even when they're heinous criminals. You've got people in this world who have shot up schools and churches, and they are not killed in the street. We don't do things like that in America. you know, regardless of what his crimes could have been or were, or what type of person he was, his life still meant something, and he shouldn't have been killed the way that he was killed. Yeah. Period. End of story.
End of story. Yeah.
I have no respect for her or how she presents her ideas. I'm in complete disagreement. So if that's.
Yeah, I mean, and you know, and she contradicts herself so much when, you know, basically says, I have never been discriminated against. Well, when you were at your black college, I mean, in college, you actually filed a discrimination lawsuit. And the
NAACP
is the one who represented you in that suit, but you've never been discriminated against.
Oh my God.
But it's all for a political agenda. And so here's the thing, both sides have them. You have Democrats who will have their person or whoever it is that they try to find to be the focal point to distract from the main message. You have Republicans who do the exact same thing. And so for me, it's not a matter of Republican, Democrat. It's a matter of
human. It's
human and stupidity. Yeah. And right. She fits on the stupidity side, in my opinion.
Yeah,
it's my opinion. Just keeping it real. How does it really? How long does it take to really see growth and results in building money management and credit worthiness? It's going to take you about 9. Well, it all depends. Your credit worthiness can be changed in a matter of a couple of weeks, depending on what your credit looks like. If you've got erroneous things on your credit that you dispute, immediately when your credit report is run again and you have challenged those things, they will not reflect, and your credit score can take a jump up pretty big time. But if you don't have any credit, you want to establish credit, it's going to take you at least 6 months, and you want to have at least 3 trade lines, minimum of 3 trade lines. So if you're a person with no credit, go get 3 credit cards, gas card, whatever it may be. Don't do it to say I have extra money. Do it to build your credit. And instead of paying cash at the pump, pay with your credit card. Instead of eating out wherever you eat, instead of paying with cash, pay with your credit card and take the cash that you would have paid, save that and pay off the credit card bill. Remember, the reason that they're not extending or that they won't extend credit to you, it's no different than if you came up to Earlene and say, hey, ma'am, can I borrow $10,000? She's gonna say, I don't know you. I don't know you. We don't loan money anyway, but I don't know you. So what the banks are saying is, I don't know you if you have no credit. And if you've got bad credit, they're saying, I know you. That's why I'm not gonna loan you the money, because your history is bad. And so once you correct those things, after 6 months of history, it means that I've got a pattern of being a good steward of my money that I borrow for 6 months. They'll say, I knew who you used to be, but I know who you are now. I'm willing to give you a second chance. I may not allow you to buy a $500,000 house, but if you want to buy a $50,000 or $30,000 car, let's start there, okay? And then you can build from there and build and get larger credit. It takes a little while. Should we also have a trust? We believe in having trust. There's different type of trust. I don't want to get into that. Get with your financial advisor on that. Don't just get a trust because of a trust. You need to make sure you're in the right type of a trust and that you understand what trusts are. See here, how long? Okay, let's see here. Would you recommend lease, hire, or own outright? Example for a business vehicle. If it all depends on what type of business that you're in. That's going to be different. If you own, let's say, a delivery service, I probably wouldn't lease because you're going to be penalized for the number of miles on a car. And, so it all depends. Your situation is going to be different. If you're just using your personal car and you want to take your personal car and put it into business, you can do that too. You don't have to get a separate car for that. So it's hard for me to answer this question without more background information. Okay. What is the difference? Pay yourself and save. How do we use it? You want to tell them about paying yourself?
Go ahead, babe.
Paying yourself is basically, rewarding yourself. You did the work. Why should you pay Bill before you pay you? So you want to make sure that you know, what gets rewarded gets repeated. So when you go out and work, buy yourself something so that you can recognize yourself. You know, let me ask you a question. What if your job at the end of the month or the end of the week or 2-week period of time, they said, listen, thank you, I appreciate you. Come on back next month. And at the end of that month, thank you, appreciate you. Come on back. You're gonna say, hey, listen, where's my money? Well, why should you expect them to treat you better than you're willing to treat you? So if I'm gonna go work, I'm gonna pay me first. I'm gonna love me better than you're gonna love me. And so it's a philosophy of how you do anything is how you do everything. Last 2 questions. Can ladybugs consider coming to Nassau, Bahamas to have a ladies conference?
Yes, absolutely. Whenever we get rid of COVID, for sure.
So answer is yes. Would you suggest to rent a car to deduct it from your taxes or to buy it and clear the payments ASAP? Still, again, it's all depending on what your business is and how you go about your finances and stuff like that. But you know, with us, what we do personally is we buy our cars and we actually are able to deduct you can either do mileage or you can do depreciation. It all depends on the car. It all depends on how heavy the car is. If your car is over 5,000 pounds, then you get a certain deduction of the value of that car as well, because it's now heavy machinery or whatever it may be. If it's not, then you can deduct 57 cents per mile, and but you don't get to have both. So get with your CPA or somebody who does your taxes and ask them what's better for me in my situation. The main thing is, number one, you're asking these questions, which means you're opening up the conversation, you're opening the door to start thinking like a business person, and you guys are out there looking to reduce your expenses and increase your net worth. So great call today.
Yes.
Great questions, great commentary, great points you made. I like what you said. We're not over here thinking about how he lived. We're talking about how he died. That's what I'm like. Can I take that, still that?
Oh, you do it. You do anyway. So you don't need my permission.
Anyway, guys, last thing I'll tell you is this. She asked me to bring her grapefruit home. I called her 5 times on the phone last night. She was in the shower, so she didn't answer. Ladies, I brought back pink grapefruit because that's all they had. She just said grapefruit. She's on this grapefruit diet, and I brought back.
I'm not on a grapefruit diet.
Well, it is. I saw your little stuff there. Anyway, I brought back pink grapefruit. Am I in trouble?
No, you're not in trouble.
There
that
we
was
go.
fine.
Okay, because I called.
Yeah, you called. Okay, so I mean, it took you 25 years to learn that lesson, but good job.
Awesome.
Better late than never.
Guys, thank you guys for staying tuned. We appreciate you. Now, here's your assignment. Here's your assignment. Bring somebody next week. Okay. I think we got two more shows that we're going to do, and then you will be introduced to Chit Chat with Earlene. Thank you guys. We appreciate you so much.
Sunday.
Happy Sunday. We love you guys. Stay safe, stay incredible, stay smart. See you guys next Sunday.
Goodbye.
Boom.